Hello and welcome back to my channel. Something a little different today. A couple of videos ago I asked if anybody had a question they would like to ask me, and would they send it me by personal message or comment on the comment bar or email. Well, we have a list of questions and we're just going to run through them today, and actually I was really surprised there are some good questions here. So thanks to everybody who's contributed a question. If there are still questions you'd like to ask me, please carry on commenting and sending me the questions, and I will answer them in a later video. Thank you. Okay, Joe.
Okay. Elaine asks, who inspires you?
Thanks, Elaine. Who inspires me? Well, on my Slimming World journey, the first person who inspired me was a very, very good friend who had had excellent results at Slimming World and looked amazing. She sat me down and talked to me about where I was going and where she thought I needed to be, and because of her I joined Slimming World, quite reluctantly at first, but soon got to grips with it and found that it suited me. If I had to say who inspires me on an almost daily basis, there's a guy who vlogs on YouTube called Vagabond Steve, and I like his vlogs because a lot of them are quite spiritual. So a lot of them are about the mind rather than the body. He's helped me an awful lot. On my journey daily, watching videos on YouTube of other Slimming Worlders, I started way back with Donna Dybel, and I am now following people like Joe and Chloe and Lauren B, and I am motivated to continue on this journey because of the people out there who are also following the plan and having excellent results. And I think today it works whether you're a man or a woman, and it works whatever age you are. I know I'm at the older age spectrum, but there are a lot of young people out there who are doing really, really well. So yeah, those people inspire me. Also, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, I am inspired by Adele. I don't really know why, but there's some qualities in that girl that really, really do give me encouragement. Thanks, Jay.
Karen Cohen asks, on your weight loss journey, were you a meal planner?
I'd have to say no, Karen, I wasn't. Everybody knows I eat the same breakfast every day. I've mentioned that. Now, that breakfast isn't set in stone, and it would change if I needed to change it, or if I felt the urge to change it. My other food is very much based on eating what I really enjoy. I have what I call my speed veg base mix. So often a meal will start off with sautéing cauliflower rice, grated carrot, red onion, shallot, spring onion, beetroot, celery, sugar snap peas, and any other speed veg I want to add to that, courgette, whatever. I'm making up a base mix, which we saute without any spray fat these days.
We don't saute
Celery
though.
No, that goes in afterwards for the crunch. I'd also add gherkin to that and things like that, pickles. So once I've got that base mix, and we might cook enough for 2 or 3 days, I can then add to it the protein of choice. Like yesterday I had piri piri chicken with it and chickpeas. Today I might add red kidney beans and hot dog relish. Tomorrow I might add chicken and salsa. It's flexible and it works for me because we often lunch after a long walk. So it's easy and it's quick. And if we've cooked enough for 2 or 3 days, then I can just warm it in the microwave and add things to it. But I would follow that with yogurt and nuts and fruit and things like that. Now that isn't set in stone either because it's flexible. I can have what I choose to have. Often at tea time I go to my favourite fallback meal, which is cheese and biscuits and lots of fruit, speed fruit. But again, it's flexible. What I can't do, and I know it works for a lot of people, but I can't do this, is do a one-off weekly shop and plan my meals for the week. I'm not that disciplined. And I am a bit mardy around food. It has to be, what do I really want next? If I planned my meals too far in advance and I knew tonight I was going to have salmon and tomorrow night I was going to have a vegetable curry and the following night I was going to have spaghetti bolognese, I'd get obsessed about food. And I have to be careful today that food isn't the thing I think about most. I enjoy the freedom. When I was into food and when I was into being morbidly obese, I never stopped thinking about food. And for me today, too much planning makes me obsessive. So I can shop on a daily basis if I want to. I have the freedom to do that. I can shop every other day for fresh fruit and veg and salad and stuff. And if I walk into Tesco this afternoon and I see they've got something I really fancy, I'll buy it for my lunch. So yeah, I'm very flexible around food. I do not plan in advance. But if you walked into my kitchen now and opened either of my fridges, you'll find lots of fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh salad, always have eggs in the house, always have loads of speed food available. I never, ever, ever allow myself to be low on food. My cupboards, my freezer, my fridges are full of food, and then I'll add to it. So we're never without food. We could always feed an army. Thanks.
Next question's from Martha and Eddie, and she asks, did the weight come off more slowly by the time you got closer to target, and how did you know where to set your target?
Oh, another nice question. No, it didn't really come off more slowly. As I said in my vlog on Saturday, there have been times when I've had to up my game to know that I was going to have a weight loss. I had 1 or 2 gains, probably 3 gains on my journey. I had a £3 gain at one point because we'd been away, staying with family. But the following week I lost £3.5. This is in the month leading up to my target. But my usual weight loss was £1 or £1.5, and that was pretty constant. I can put on weight very easily, and as I say, I did have a couple of £2 gain and a £3 gain, I think. The following week it always came off plus an extra £0.5, but I always worked to get it off. But leading actually up to the sort of month prior to hitting target, I would say my weight loss has averaged £1.5 a week. Now, where did I decide to set target? I never imagined I could get down into the 10 stones. I always said, when I first started the plan, my target would be 11 stone 11. I don't know where that figure came from. I was going to be 11 stone 11. I got to 11 stone 11 and I knew I could lose more. I got to 11 stone 4 and I thought I had got to where I wanted to be. And I did take a photograph, which has been, I think it was in one of my very, very early videos, which showed me at 11 stone 4 on the 22nd of October last year. And I thought I'd got there. I was wearing a pair of size 12 trousers, and I think my jacket was a 16, my top was a 14, and I thought I'd got there. But then I realised the weight was still coming off. I actually chose to call target at 10 stone 10 because then I knew I could gain the £3 over target but still stay within the 10 stones. However, as I progressed, the weight continued to come off. So very graciously, my consultant allowed me to reset target about 4 weeks ago at 10 stone 7. Today I'm 10 stone 4, which is the very bottom of my target, and I need to be careful not to keep dropping out of the bottom. So I think it's not just a number, it's much more how you feel. So I'd say to anybody, if you've got a number in mind, when you get there, see how you feel. Don't rush to set your target like I did, because until you've lived there for a month or so and actually tried to maintain it, you might find that you still have a little bit to lose. It's no good looking at all these BMI charts and things because, at 10 stone 4, according to the BMI chart, I'm still overweight. But I know that, I'm rapidly approaching 60, and if I keep going down, I'm going to have too much loose skin. So I think for me, this weight is good. I'm comfortable, I'm active, I'm energetic, and I feel healthy. So it's an individual thing. Thanks.
Nelly1957 asks, do you find that people, shop assistants, etc., treat you with more respect now that you are a slim person?
That's a brilliant question. I have said this to my friend. Now I've lost £4 short of 12 stone. My friend's lost more weight than me. We've talked about this and we've both commented that we feel that people treat us very, very differently now we're slimmer. We used to go shopping together, and when we were both really big, we thought people looked at our trolleys as if to say, good God, is that what those fat people live on? Really felt like that. I'm being truthful. Now, when we go shopping together, that doesn't happen anymore because we don't buy the junk we used to buy, I suppose. Also, when we've been in restaurants and things, we've found when we were really big that often waiters and waitresses were very dismissive. That doesn't happen anymore because, of course, people see us and they don't realise, we've been in the 20-odd stones. They only see us as we are today. I have found in clothes shops, even shops like Marks and Spencer's, when I was at my biggest, which was like size 24, 26, often a shop assistant's attitude felt like, oh God, love, you don't expect us to have anything to fit you. Now, if you go back 10 years, Marks and Spencer's didn't have anything to fit me because they didn't do the bigger sizes then. Marks and Spencer's did a 20 in some of their ranges if you were very, very lucky. And they were generally clothes aimed at the older lady. And when I was 30, I didn't want to dress like my own grandmother. It's better now, they do carry bigger sizes, but they still don't go big enough. There's still this attitude in a lot of shops that size 24 is as far as we're going to go. I'm sure lots of you ladies who are in the same situation as me have noticed this. Now when I go into Next or Marks and Spencer's or Wallis's, not so much Zara, because Zara's aimed at Spanish ladies who I think must be very petite, because in Zara quite often an extra large is a size 14. I can get in some of their stuff, but it's not my first choice. I like Wallis's, I like Next now. I like my favourite dress shop, which is called Hazel Walker's, which is a little one-off place. But the assistants, they do treat me with respect now. I don't get that, oh my God, look at her sort of attitude. But it does spill over because it's not just shop assistants, bus drivers, taxi drivers, anywhere where people are actually offering you a service. I find now they treat me like a human being, whereas before, when I was really big, they looked at me and I felt like they were treating me as if to say, oh God, you've let yourself go. And it's not a nice feeling. Now, whether some of that was in my head because I felt like I'd let myself go, and whether my attitude has changed, I don't know. But I would face anybody now confidently. I wouldn't have done 11 stone ago. And the other big thing, which doesn't really apply to me today, is employment. I genuinely believe that if you go for a job interview, 9 times out of 10 you feel discriminated against if you're large. And I have had friends who've said to me, this hasn't happened to me for a long time because it's a long time since I've sought a new job. I had a good job for 18 years, so I didn't need to be job hunting. But I have had friends who've said to me, we've gone for job interviews where they've literally had a uniform for the job, and the largest uniform they'd been able to offer us was a size 22. So that's never happened to me, but I do have friends it's happened to, and that must be very demoralising. But hey girls, we're doing something about it. That doesn't need to happen to us anymore. Thanks.
Donna Dybel asks, please can you tell us all what shoes you wear to do your walking in?
Oh, hi Donna. Right, here they are. Now these are new, got a good tread on them. They're new because I literally walked right through my last pair and put them in the wheelie bin yesterday, and the bin man took them away. And I felt like telling Joe to run after him because they were so comfortable, but they were worn out. You see the tread on these? Well, I had literally worn the tread off my last pair in about 9 months of walking. These are Reebok Feehan Run 3s. Now, I go for Reebok because I've got Reebok shaped feet. My feet are quite broad here. I've got Nike trainers and Adidas trainers and Skechers trainers, but I cannot walk as far in those because they're not so cushioned in the sole, they're not so flexible, and they're not wide, broad enough here. They're broad enough to go to the pub in, or, some short distance, but not broad enough and comfortable enough to walk 10 miles in. So these are my trainers of choice. Anything Reebok attracts me, I'll try them because they are my foot shape. But I think for anybody to find, what works for you, but I think you need cushioning here at the back, and you need a good cushioned sole to be walking on, because otherwise it hurts the balls of your feet. So yeah, Reebok for me, but we're all different, aren't we? Thanks, Joe.
Jane 2015 asks, how do they structure the group sessions?
Well, I can only talk about my group, Jane. In my group, you would come into the room and there'd be 2 big circles of chairs, an inner circle and an outer circle. Lots of information about Slimming World, lots of encouraging stuff. There'd be a table where they sold books and hi-fi bars and such like, journals. You'd walk past that to a table where they took your card and you paid your weekly fee or whatever you need to do. And then a little distance further on, there's another table where we have 2 ladies who weigh, but we only have 1 set of scales. But that speeds up the process because I go to a very big group. You're weighed with privacy. You're not there for other people to see how nobody else can see how much you weigh. Only you can see what you weigh, what you've lost comes up on the monitor, and the ladies are trained with discretion, so they don't broadcast how you've done. You then go, get yourself a tea or coffee, cold drink or whatever, and you take a seat. Half an hour into the group, so my group starts at 10, at 10:30 image therapy begins. So those who've stayed for image therapy, our leader usually uses her iPad and goes through the group. We don't go round the group. She does it in alphabetical order or different order each week, so it's fair. And she'll talk about how you've done that week. Now, if you've had a gain and you don't want to discuss it, we just say pass. And everybody understands you're feeling sensitive, you don't want to talk about it. It's nice. Our leader, Naomi, is amazing and she does it in a really nice way. Now, I can't speak for every other group in this country. They're similar, I think, but they're not all the same. Now, for myself, joining as a blind person, my fear was walking through that door, not being able to see anybody, not knowing what the setup was, not knowing anybody. So what I did was I rang the group leader ahead of time and asked, could somebody greet me? Now, when I first started to go to my group, it happened in a sports centre, and she said, would you like somebody to greet you at the door? Would you like somebody to come out to the foyer? So we said, foyer. And for the first 6 weeks, a lovely lady called Linda came and greeted me in the foyer, and we went in together. Now, the venue for my meeting has changed to a rugby club, and it's much more accessible. You go straight into the room now. But I still am greeted every week by a different Linda now, my Scottish Linda, as I call her. And she would see me to, through the weigh-ins process and see me to a chair, but that's because I'm totally blind. But if you want that because you don't know anybody, because you feel a bit uncomfortable being on your own, it's available. You just have to ask for it. I've been going to group now for 14 months and I know so many people in my group. Every week people come and talk to me and tell me how they've done, ask me how I am. In fact, every week I think somebody more or less different comes and sits with me because they want to chat with me, which is really nice. And a lot of the young ones come and sit with me, which is really, really nice. So I would say don't ever be afraid of the setup in a group. Speak to the leader, try it. If you don't like it, you've got the flexibility to go to a different group. But don't stay away from group because you think you'll feel out of place or unaccepted. When I first needed to join a group, when I weighed 22 stone, I was too embarrassed to go because I thought I would be the biggest person in the room and everybody would stare at me. Do you know that's never been the case? I don't think we're that bothered or that interested in taking other people's agendas. What matters is why we're there. We go and we do our thing. We're not there to judge other people and they're not there to judge us. So please, give it a go and never feel uncomfortable.
Okay. The Real Vermilion asks, do you have any gadgets to help you?
Nice question, thanks. Yeah. People will have heard my iPhone talking in videos. I've taken it out of the room today. But my iPhone and my iPad both have the facility on accessibility for speech. And everybody's iPhone and iPad has this. So you can turn it on and it will read the screen for you to a certain extent. So I can use, and please excuse the lawnmower noise in the background, my neighbour's cutting his grass. I can use my iPhone for the Slimming World app, and I can actually say today I wanted to look up a tin of Heinz tomato soup. I can go onto the Slimming World app like everybody else would. I can go on the food search part and I can actually hit a dictate button and just speak into my phone and it'll search for whatever I tell it. Or I can do what you do and I can type it into the QWERTY keyboard that's on screen because my keyboard talks to me. So I have choices there. I use that. I use my iPad generally to watch vlogs, and again I can search for any of you vloggers by name or Slimming World tag. I can also use the same facility as everybody else, the notification facility, and subscribe. Do that. I have a desktop computer that talks, has a speech system on it. Now all of these things are available for blind people today at a price. Your iPhone and your iPad cost you the same as anybody else. But if you need a speech system on your desktop, it can be £600 to £1,000 for quite a simple system. Way above £1,000 for something a little more complex. Or I can actually go to the Royal National Institute for the Blind and buy a talking laptop. But where you'd buy a laptop for £300 or £400, mine would be £1,300 or £1,400. So these things are available at a price. I have a digital systems disc reader which reads what they call daisy discs. Unfortunately, Slimming World haven't caught up with that yet. Their food plan is on CD. So I have all of the food plan, Body Magic, everything on CD. But the discs aren't individually marked. So even though you've got a pile of CDs, there's nothing to tell you as a blind person which is which unless you find a way of labelling it yourself, which I have done. But it's very time consuming to find anything on those. Yeah, I have little labels, talking labels. I can actually record my own voice onto labels, so I can label food things and CDs and such like. All of these things are available, as I say, at a price. I've got that, I'm fortunate. I've got a talking microwave. There is only one that's available in this country. So again, it's available, you don't have a choice. It's this one or no one. But yeah, it's nice when you think a man's doing the cooking for you because it's a male voice. I've got talking kitchen scales, which again are available through the Royal National Institute for the Blind. And I've got Joe. He's my best gadget, Mr. Gadget. I'm really lucky to have Joe, and because he's grown up with me as a blind mum, it's very normal for him to read stuff for me or find stuff for me when I can't find my Fitbit or something. It's like, Joe, where's my phone? Joe, where's my Fitbit? but he's got the patience of a saint, bless him. So yeah, I can do most of this for myself, but there are times when it's lovely to have a sighted assistant, shall we say. But yeah, I like that question, thank you.
Helen asks, why is walking your exercise of choice?
Right. I think, Helen, and thanks for this question, it's because I've discovered, after many, many years of sitting on my bum and doing very little, that I actually enjoy walking. I enjoy walking with someone else, and I do go walking with different friends, because you can walk and talk, and you know me, I could talk for England, but you can walk and chat. You can chat about what's in the news, you can chat about what's happening in your daily life, or you can just talk, you know, about whatever interests you. And before you know it, you've done 3 or 4 miles and you haven't noticed. Now, when I first started on this journey, this weight loss journey, I was looking for a form of exercise that I enjoyed. And I never found one. I've joined gyms, I've done classes, Pilates and everything. And to be honest with you, most of the time, getting off my bum and getting to the gym or to the Pilates class or to the swimming pool was the bit that I didn't want to do. I'm ever so good at sitting and thinking about things, and I would talk myself out of it. So while I had a gym membership at £50 a month, and I was paying that £50 a month by direct debit, I felt like I went to the gym. I've got a gym membership if anybody asks. I hardly ever used it. And when I did use it, I would go in the evening with a friend and get so frustrated because I couldn't go on my own when I just wanted to, because my friends were at work. And when I got there, yes, I wanted to use the treadmill first to warm up. They were all taken, so we'd have to wait. Yes, I wanted to use a certain kind of bike, and I prefer the bikes that have proper, like, seats rather than bike seats. They were all taken, so we'd have to wait. Then we'd be queuing up to use this machine, and then queuing up to use this leg machine. And to be perfectly frank, I was bored. I thought, I'm paying all this money to stand here and wait to use a machine because somebody else is on it. How very dare they? And I didn't enjoy the experience at all. Not at all. I can honestly say I never ever went to the gym and enjoyed it. So it wasn't for me. It may well be for you. Pilates was nice, but again, going to a Pilates class on your own as a blind person, unless you've got a really good instructor, you lose the plot, because it's very hard to follow what an instructor's doing unless she's telling you. So I did have a very, very good Pilates teacher, but unfortunately she died. So that put a stop to that. Swimming, I like swimming. I'm probably the slowest fish in the pond, but I do like swimming. But again, when you go to the pool and it's full of people ploughing up and down and you can't see, I need the inside lane to swim up and down the inside by the wall. And most people don't realise I'm blind, because in that situation I don't look blind, so they just plough into me. So that got a bit stressful. I'd love to ride a bike, and I've often said to Joe, let's get a tandem. But when I think about it sensibly, where would we go riding? It's all busy main roads around where we live. So that's not really the safest thing to think about doing. So walking is something I really enjoy, and I'm doing it from the moment I leave my back door or my front door. I'm not having to travel 2 miles to get to it, which is the bit that often stopped me doing it. So yeah, there isn't an easier form of exercise. And do you know what? I've been walking through this weight loss journey. I've walked back to happiness. I think I've said that before. I have got strong legs. I've got really strong calf muscles. I haven't got flabby legs because I've toned them up as I've walked. When I look at my Fitbit record on the computer and see how many thousands of miles I've walked, it amazes me. But it's worked. I'm just sorry that you can't walk on my hands and turn up the top off. But yeah, walking's for me every time. Any more?
You recently discovered hula hooping as well.
Oh yeah, hula hooping. that's a good thing, because while I walk in the rain, and I don't mind walking in the rain, and through the winter we walked in the snow, and we walked in the fog, and we walked in sleet. We've never let it stop us walking. But very recently Joe suggested buying a hula hoop. We now have a collection of 4 different sizes, and I love it. I couldn't do it at first, but now I can do 10-15 minutes in either direction, and it's really helping to tone up my tummy. So yeah, I'd say to anybody, if you're looking for something you can do in the privacy of your own lounge, and if you're like me, you don't like exercise DVDs. I mean, I don't have a television today because I don't watch telly. But if somebody had given me a selection of exercise DVDs, I could have sat on my bum and watched them and really believed in my tiny mind that I'd done it. Because that's the way my mind works. Watching it would have been exercise enough for me. I'd never have got off my bum and leapt around the room, because I don't have discipline like that. I don't have enthusiasm like that. So hula hooping is something I can do when I'm listening to Chris Evans on the radio, or I'm playing a CD that I'm really enjoying, and I can lose myself with a hula hoop. So yeah, that works for me too.
And final question, Val says you mentioned in one of your vlogs about your butterfly tattoo. Do you have any more?
Yeah, I have 4 tattoos. I started with tattoos when I was 40. For my 40th birthday, I had a snail tattooed on the back of my right shoulder. For my 45th birthday, I had my Red Admiral butterfly tattooed just on my leg above my knee, my right knee. For my 50th birthday, I've got 2 overlapping hearts on my right calf, and they've actually got some dots, which I'm not going to say what it says, but it's actually dots, it's braille. You can't read it, but I know what it says. And that was my 50th. For my 55th birthday, I've got a tattoo on my arm, which I don't think you'll see from there, but it's 2 clasped hands, and it says Jane at the top, and it's got my best friend's name. My best friend who died last year, it's got his name underneath. And Joe designed that one. And coming up in September to my 60th birthday, I am planning to have my 5th tattoo, but I haven't decided what yet or where. So, is that it, Joe? Have we done?
Yep, that's everything.
Right. Thank you for listening, and thank you for the questions, each and every one of you. Really appreciate that. It's been enjoyable. Have a good week. Bye.